Welcome to another episode of The Calling and the Climb. I'm very excited today to welcome a guest to the podcast studio, Garet Maddox. Now, Garet is a professional video producer, a business, a profession that he started in very, very early. He's going to tell us about that. And I actually have some connections with Garet in that I consulted with him when I first started doing my podcast or planning my podcast. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'd like to welcome Garet. Garet, welcome to The Calling and the Climb.
Hey, Phillip. I'm glad to be here.
Been wanting to get you on for a long time, and it's finally here. So,
Do I need to pretend like it's my first time in the studio?
no need, no
Okay.
need to pretend because we'll talk about that a little bit later. But so, Garet, I know I've known you for a long time, and I've known I knew you before you started your career.
You did.
But it seems to me, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a passion even as a young man that turned into a career. Is that right?
Yeah. That's right.
And what was that passion?
Making videos.
Yeah.
It was really creativity, if you want to give it even broader. It was just being creative. I did things like art classes and stuff like that when I was a kid. I was definitely more of the artistic type and creative type rather than like athletic or brainiac or anything like that. It was creativity was definitely clearly my imagination couldn't contain it. Or at least I couldn't. So I had to express it some way. And at some point in my life, probably around maybe like 12 years old, something like that, I kind of got my hands on some home movie cameras and just started exploring a whole new world.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So when was it you first realized I can see things through a camera lens that other people can't?
Yeah.
When did you get that realization?
Wow, I probably realized it once I started actually learning how to edit videos. So back when I was a kid, again, maybe about 12 or 13 years old, I'm making these videos, recording stuff. And sometimes at first it would just be I'm filming it and I just watch it back on the camera, and that was fun enough. But then I learned, there's a thing called editing, and you put it on the computer and you download a software, and all of a sudden you can make your clips whatever story you want to tell.
Interesting.
And so I decided to do that, and I would then kind of, I don't want to say force, but my family would be invited to go watch these little movies I would make, and they would oblige to it, and they would do it, and they were very gracious. But it would get a laugh, or it would get like a reaction, or something I did, and they would just get a reaction, and that made me feel good, and that made me realize, I think, early on, I can do a thing here with video that gets a reaction that people enjoy. My family's loving it, and I can really create my own little story here. Like the thing that I set out to do, I had a vision, I filmed it, I edited it, and it got the reaction I was hoping it got. And that made me really open my eyes to like the power of video and what you can do with it.
That is very cool. You mentioned your family, and so you started out your own little, film festival with just your family,
Yeah,
right?
basically.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Sundance at our house.
So did your family think this was just a phase, or when did they realize that this was more than just a phase? Maybe I should ask that.
Oh man, that's a great that's a great question. I don't know if I could answer that question for them, but I would guess they probably started realizing it probably in high school at some point, because I was doing that when I was a kid, right? And I was having a lot of fun. And then there was probably a period of time, middle school, where I wasn't doing it as much, but, here and there, just my spare time. Still definitely passionate about it. And then in high school, I really started kind of bringing it back into my life because I would find little opportunities here and there at church and different avenues like that I could express my creativity with. Sometimes at school, they would do a project, and they were already starting to do the option of I remember one of my English teachers, she said, all right, guys, you can either do the paper on this, or if you want to do something else like a video or something instead. And I was always the one that raised my hand and said, I'll do the video. Way easier. And then it always got a way better reaction because it was like an event. It was like, oh, okay, Garet did a video, lights go down. Like that. Cool. That's way more fun than writing a paper. No one's reading my paper, but everyone gets to watch my video.
It's an experience.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
So I think, and again, I would do stuff for church, and that was cool. They would offer me plenty of cool opportunities to express my creativity with video when I was young. And all that kind of stuff in that kind of high school phase, I think, is when my family started to see that it was something that I was talented at and cared about,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of had desires for doing something with.
Mm-hmm.
And then even other people just in and around my life that would really encourage me. Like there were several different people that like made a an intentional decision to like come talk to me and say, hey, I think this is something you're really good at. And a lot of those people kind of poured into me. Some people invested in me. There's a good family friend of ours. His name is Joel Fulmer.
Yeah,
A
shout
shout
out.
out to Joel Fulmer.
Yeah.
Uh, my mom worked for him when she was in college in the Western Kentucky campus, like broadcasting room and stuff like that. And so he has a history with TV, television, and stuff like that. And he helped me get one of my first early like nicer cameras, and just because he wanted to invest in
That's
a
cool.
kid that had a dream to do
Great.
something.
Mentor.
Yeah, it was like a mentor in that moment for sure. And so all kinds of things like that around high school age is when I started to see my eyes were opening
Mm-hmm.
to the potential beyond this is just a fun hobby of mine. There actually is such thing as a career in this, or a way to make money, a way to make videos for other people, and a way to have it be seen by lots of people. And I think I started to see that, and as I started to see that, people in my life started to notice that I
Yeah.
was
And you
making
got
that connection.
encouragement. That's great.
Yeah,
A lot of people will start a business. They'll have an idea. Oh, I'm going to start a business, and they'll do the idea.
yeah,
But I love your experience because it evolved from a passion.
yeah.
You you were doing it first not to make money, but just because you love doing it.
Right, I genuinely loved it. I
Yeah.
had nothing to, I was not making money at first from it. It was just a fun opportunity. I
Yep.
saw it as an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
If I could do it instead of a paper, that's great.
Yep.
If I could do that at some talent show, that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome because how awesome is that somebody gets to watch? I have a captive audience now
Yeah. Yeah.
that can watch the thing that I made. I even remember doing that in eighth grade. That's a middle school example, or seventh grade rather, for history class, and I made a whole documentary about the Civil War. It was my first documentary I ever made, and I had to do a voiceover and everything.
Do you still have that?
I don't still have
Oh
that.
man.
There's a lot that's another tragic story, maybe for another day. I lost a lot of this stuff
Oh.
that I'm talking about.
Oh man.
It's very it's very upsetting. But a lot of that stuff was what got me to where I am now, just like practicing and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So those projects and that got used at into put into a competition, a history competition. I got to show it at college campuses, and it got up the ranks, and just little moments like that just kept my like inspiration of like,
That's
oh, I
awesome.
think I'm good at this,
Yeah.
going throughout those early years.
So
So, give me the confidence later on.
I love the name of your company that you eventually, I don't know when you decided on that, but of course your last name is Maddox, Garet
Yes.
Maddox.
Yeah,
Cinemaddox is your
that's
name of
right.
your company.
That's
How did
right.
that come about?
It's a great question,
How'd you
Phillip.
think that up?
So the story goes like this. Basically, me and my older brother, his name is Grant, we were having kind of a late night brother chat, as we would often do. This
How
is
much older is he than you?
he's 2 years, 2.5 years, so
Okay.
2 to 3 years older
Older
than me.
brother. Okay.
Yeah, and he's my older brother, and he was having just kind of a late night chat with me, and we were talking
Did
about.
he do video? He did video work as well, didn't he?
He did. So
Yeah.
that kind of ties into this, and there's an even cooler story behind that. But at this time, he was actually dabbling, and I was just now getting into the phase of like, oh, I think I'm gonna try like making money from this now. So kind of at the same time, by happenstance, he started kind of dabbling in it too, even though he had no previous history. But he's the older brother with the Midas touch, so he could just hop in it. But what Grant's really good at is he was okay with doing videos, because again Midas touch, but he's great at business, and he definitely has an entrepreneurial spirit in mind, and just as good with business. And he's always been great at just pouring into me, and even to this day, like we'll have a conversation. I'll be talking about work, and he'll have an idea I'll throw out there and be like, "Oh, you ever thought about doing this way?" And I'm like, "No, I should do it that way." But in this moment, we were talking about different things of me getting inspired to start this thing, and he mentioned like, yeah, you ought to have like a brand name or something like that. You gotta have like something to establish it. And then he starts carrying on about something else, right? But I get stuck on what he just said, and I'm like already thinking about names. I'm like, I do need a brand name. And then I started thinking of words that have to do with video. I started thinking of cinema, and then I thought about cinematic. Like
Yeah.
that's a word. I was like, what can I do with cinematic? Then I thought of the word cinematics, like plural, and then I was like, wait, that sounds like my last name. And then this is all Grant's just wah 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 in my ear, and I'm thinking Cinemaddox, and then like my whole world turns upside down, and I'm like, I cracked
That's
the
it.
code, and then I stop Grant. I go, whoa, 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 whatever you're talking about, stop. I have a brand name, and he's like, what is it? And I look at him, and I go, Cinemaddox, and we kind of just have a moment of silence. We look at each other.
Did he give you a nod on
And then
that?
I knew it was great when he looks at me and he goes, "Man, I wish I thought of
Ah, I
that."
love it. I know Grant, so I know that
Yeah.
was tough for him to
Yes,
admit that,
he
right?
had to admit that. So once I knew he admitted that and he was like, "I wish I thought of that," I knew it was awesome. And
That's
but he's good
fantastic.
enough. He's like, "That's
You
you
got
take
it.
it." Yeah.
Well, you were off and running,
Yeah.
and how long ago has that been when you kind of
That was
formed a corporate identity, if you will?
Yeah, yeah, that was kind of like establishing a brand name and getting myself out there. That was about, I think those were around 2017,
Okay.
2016 time.
Yeah, yeah,
So, around 10 years
yeah. That's awesome.
ago, and
So
crazy.
we've talked before about some of your projects. I know you've done a variety of things, from music to conferences to construction to promotional videos, corporate, and and I've heard you mention it. So you love your job because you get. It's like you get to be behind the scenes of all these different types of work.
Yeah.
How describe that better than I have?
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite things about what I do. It's got its seasons where sometimes there's mundanity, like any job, and you kind of get stuck. I've definitely been in the cycle of doing the same stuff for certain seasons, but my favorite part is when, and I'm going through one of those right now, and it's awesome, wherein you just are going from job to job, gig to gig, and it seems like you're just getting an insight into so many different career fields. Because my job is to make videos for people who want to promote their thing. And nowadays, in 2026 especially, everyone wants video and everyone's trying to promote what they do, whether they are some sort of blue collar contractor or they are some sort of government official that's trying to pass some sort of legislation, or they might be a music artist or a comedian, or they might be a pastor or some sort of
Hmm.
minister. Everyone, some sort of nonprofit, everyone is trying to get their stuff out there. So income,
The calling and the climb.
here we are. And so I get an insight into what everyone else is doing through my job, which
Yeah,
is so cool. I kind of get a unique view through my
yeah,
lens. So I love that about what I do. And that's why I try to keep my hands, I intentionally seek out opportunities that keep my hands in as many pots as
yeah,
possible rather than just, honing on. Because, people who do what I do, that they do that. They get with an artist and they tour,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's all they do. It's
yeah.
just that. I just don't think that's me. I like the variety. I like being because I'm a curious person. I like getting insights and I like people. So I'm just as interested in the guy that's mowing grass as I am, the person that's singing on stage in
Yeah,
front of thousands of people.
yeah.
I want to know what all those things are like.
So, what's the most fascinating environment that you've worked in? Is
Oh
there one
wow.
in particular that stands out?
There's definitely been some oh wow, where am I kind of moments. I would say off the top of my head, I remember the first time and the only time. Let's make that clear. I stepped out behind an artist with my camera because the goal was to get a shot of him walking out on stage in front of 60,000 people.
Wow.
This was in Atlanta at Passion
Okay.
conference, and obviously that's like the biggest
Yeah.
one. And it was for a hip hop artist KB that was opening up. First time ever working with him, and it
Wow.
was like, hey, can you come down to Atlanta and just film the show? And then I get there and they say we need you to follow him out, and he comes from the center stage, like the underground, and you got to walk up.
Oh man,
Come from that, and I'm
that's
like
so
probably
cool.
20 feet from behind him, and you walk up there. I had been in the backstage area, like it was COVID, they had to silo me through the
Yeah.
back. I hadn't seen the crowd one bit yet, and my first time seeing the crowd walking in there, 60,000 people. I'm on the stage. I'm on the stage.
Wow.
I get my shot and I leave because I
That's
was scared.
pretty cool.
It was
What a
awesome.
story.
Yeah, and then there's other moments where you're just maybe the complete opposite, but it's fascinating for completely different
Yeah.
reasons. Like you're, let's see if something comes off the top of my head. Like you're filming for a chimney company. You're some guys putting together or inspecting a chimney for somebody because it's their chimney business, and they're just blue collar people that you get there at 5:30 when they're there, and you just follow them around on a job site all
Yeah.
day, and you
Yeah.
just get to see that. And so that's fascinating in a whole different
Yeah.
realm.
That's very
So
cool.
it's cool. Yeah.
So tell me, Garrett, you're very creative, and I know you're creative work, and I know you spend a lot of time on it. But tell me, what is more challenging for you, the creative, keeping the creative juices flowing, or the business end of it?
I would say for me, it has pretty much always been the business side is more. You say, would you see it as
Yeah,
more
what's more
tough?
challenging?
More challenging is the business side of it. That's
Yeah.
always been more challenging for me, and always been the area which I've had plenty of room to grow
Hmm.
and to learn. So in a lot of ways, it's been very fulfilling. That side's been very fulfilling for me because it was an opportunity for me to take an area that I was pretty much just had no knowledge on,
Hmm.
and that's been the biggest area of growth
Oh,
for
good.
me,
Yeah, yeah.
creativity wise. I'm always growing, but I feel like I'm always that's a part of me I just can't get rid of, if
Hmm.
you know what I mean. Like that's
Hmm.
a side of me that's just there. And we all have our moments where we lack inspiration or creativity, but I've never truly felt like I've like the taps run dry. I can always pull something out of
Yeah,
my hat
yeah,
if I need to, and it doesn't take long for the juices to flow. But the business side, that's more of the grind. That's the part I had to do a lot of learning, and
yeah,
still am doing a lot of learning all the
yeah.
time.
I've heard you say that you get more bees with honey. What
Yeah,
does that saying mean?
yeah. That saying is basically saying, "Hey, be a good person. Be a
Okay.
good person," because what I found in terms of business, how I kind of view business in terms of business strategy and all these kind of things has less to do with numbers, has less to do with um, tactics and strategies and all these things. A lot of it comes down to, are you a good person to be around and to work with? So when I'm on set with somebody, right, or I'm filming one on one with them, especially if it is one on one and it's not in a group setting, the biggest, I guess, selling point, if you want to put it that way, you have is how good you are to be around. In my
Hmm.
opinion, I feel like that has always bode very well for me and,
Hmm.
and allowing me to retain clients and also to get new ones because word of mouth is strong. So if you're
Sure.
a good person and people walk away from that experience going, yeah, we got the product, we got the shots, and we're very happy with that. That was kind of expected.
Hmm.
We want to hire someone professional and good. But man, even better, I had a good time filming with Garrett or whoever it is. The film, it's
Hmm.
like you want to walk away being like they had a good time, a good experience. You definitely don't want them to walk away being like, man, we got everything we wanted, but that just was a drag, or
Yeah.
that wasn't a very good spirit. Like it just didn't have a lot of good energy there. That's the worst thing. So more bees with honey is the saying there because now you're going to have people more attracted to your work, honestly, because they associate your work with something good and
Hmm.
good-hearted, and a good person to work with, and they're going to call you back almost every time
Yeah.
because they're like, even if I even make this claim to some people, be professional, be great at what you do. Don't rely on that entirely, right? But I tell people who are just starting out and they might feel a little insecure about the quality of their work because they're up against
Hmm.
competition. I tell them that to be a good person to work with, and that will do a lot to cover up a lot of the crimes of your beginnerness.
I've lived that myself.
Yes,
Absolutely. I
and
know. I
because people will
agree.
people will go, you know what? It's not maybe the best of the best, but I see that they're growing, and I like them, and I want
Exactly.
to be around them, and they're a good hard worker, and I can see something great there, and it's still a good product.
Yeah.
So why not? Versus the person who was amazing, high quality, but they did not have a good attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Likability can cover a lot of flaws.
a lot. Yeah, a lot. A lot. And and genuine likability
Sure.
too,
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
everyone can smell a fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're genuine about it and you're
Yeah.
just you're genuinely nice to people
Yeah.
and good to work with and professional.
Now, I know this about you, Garrett, and it's not a criticism. It's something that I can relate to, but you're a bit of a perfectionist. Are you not?
Oh, a bit is
So tell me,
generous.
how does that show up in your work?
Yeah. That shows up in my work in a lot of areas. I would say, especially on it shows up in every area, but I would say I feel it more presently when I am editing a video or something like that, where I'm just kind of in my own. A lot of times when I'm filming, it can be perfectionist, but sometimes you have the good pressure of the person there or the situation that kind of just forces you to act and
Hmm.
go and do, right? You don't have all the time always on a shoot to just figure out the nitty gritty. But when it comes to editing, now you're on your own little world in your own space and you're on your own head and you've got more time to obsess and dwell over little things that end up just taking up a lot of time and are sometimes worth it, but are sometimes not worth it. And that's where I've really learned that valuable lesson of perfectionism isn't necessarily like a bad trait. It's just about how you use it and
Mm-hmm.
how do you pick your battles.
Mm-hmm.
That'll probably always be a part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably never defeat it, but it's about how I apply it and how I
Mm-hmm.
use it to my advantage. So, is there a moment where I go, you know what, I have the time, the space. This is a good moment to use my perfectionism to make this edit or this thing really meticulous and good, or is this a moment where it's just totally not necessary
Mm-hmm.
and I'm wasting time and it's causing a worse result and I'm not choosing my battles correctly, you know?
Do you think um, that creative people sometimes maybe hide? I don't count myself as a creative person. I look at people like you. I marvel at your creativity. But I have noticed. Do you think creative people sometimes hide behind perfectionism because they're afraid to
Mm.
release their work? Is that a valid
Yeah, I
view?
think I do. I think that there's a lot of that
How do you
validity.
overcome that?
Yeah.
And you're speaking to other creators
Yeah.
that are probably watching right now that
Yeah.
experience the same thing in their cubicle of editing a
Yes.
project.
So I want to make sure I have you right. So you're saying the perfectionism is a way for them to.
So I'm afraid to
Yes.
release this. I'm going to be
Yes.
judged,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Is that does
There's
that
more going on, and the perfectionism is an
maybe?
easy mask to put on it. I think that's true.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of truth behind that. You can get a little bit scared about putting something out there, and then you just go, I'm just not going to because it's not right. You know, it's
Yeah.
not. I don't have it. It's not how I wanted it to be. It's not meeting the vision.
Do you feel like that's a reflection on you as a
It
person or
does.
as a
It
professional?
feels personal a lot of
Okay.
times,
Okay.
and you have to remind yourself that it's not always
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah.
But when I'm, because a lot of that's true. If I was like to put something out for myself, it's way less likely to put something out on the internet that I just made due to my perfectionism, because it is a reflection of like that's me and my raw creativity. And if that isn't awesome the way I want it to be, then it's not a true reflection of me. Whereas it's easier with a client or something. I still fall for the perfectionism because I want to represent myself well in my work with the client, but I'm no longer directly attached to it. It's now somebody else's thing, and a lot of times if I get all perfectionist with something, and then it ends up going through a revision process that has their notes on it anyways, and it's not even what I want it to be anymore anyways.
So it's not yours
It's
anymore.
not yours anymore.
Yeah.
So now I just kind of don't care, and I just do the revisions, and
Okay.
it
That's a good
kind
way
of
to see
kills
it.
it,
It's
right?
kind of
Yeah, and then it helps you kill it ahead of time because you go, wait,
somebody else is going to chop
it's
this
just
up.
gonna chop this up, and so what am I wasting anyone's time
I
for?
love it. I
So you
love it.
learn that stuff along the way. But to your point, if I was to put out something and I have that is just, hey, here's Garrett making a video just for funsies again, all of a sudden there's way more pressure and
Oh
way
yeah.
less likely that
Interesting.
that's why I'm in that right now. Anyone that knows my work or any personal stuff I used to put out there, I haven't put out anything just Garet Maddox in a very long time. A, because of busy doing stuff for other people, and probably B, an undertone of that is I'm scared because I know it's going to be something I obsess over and it's never going to get done and blah 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 blah. I want to be able to just turn that off,
Turn it
and so I
off.
could just
Release it. We need your work. We need your work out
I
there,
just want to
Garrett.
put
So
something out there. So yeah, you're remotivating me right now.
let me change gears just for a
Okay.
moment, because I know you're a man of faith, as I am,
Yes,
and faith informs your career like it does for so many of us.
absolutely.
And I know I've heard you talk before about some of the best opportunities were things that you didn't even plan. It just happened,
Yeah,
a God thing.
yeah.
Want to tell us an example of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's been so many God things in my
Uh-huh.
career that I would say the most special things and some of the coolest experiences and biggest opportunities I've gotten have all been things that I couldn't have planned and God totally put in my path. And I might have been at the right time in the right place and I had been working hard to be ready for it,
Yeah.
but God designed it. And I know it was because I didn't reach out to that person. I didn't do anything to get that cool gig. It just landed on my plate. And but I could see the trail of history of
You
how
had
that
some
got there.
stepping stones to get
There
there.
was
You didn't know where it was leading.
I have no idea.
That's
And
awesome.
so I guess a good example of that is I'll tell kind of a quick story about sort of early on in that same phase of 2017 era. I'm graduating high school. I'm starting to think seriously. I'm going to do a couple years of college. I'm thinking seriously about like my career and what I want to do and how I really want to do video and figure that out. And that felt like the time, right? That felt like my window of time to fail. you know, to like I can afford to try and fail right now.
Hmm.
And so I was going for it. And that's when my brother, he was kind of having a stint and doing a video at the same time. And I was like, "What are you doing? You're jacking my style." And but he's just again business guy, and he just saw an opportunity. And it was short lived for him, but in that moment, it was actually very valuable to have him doing it at the same time for me, because what ended up happening is one of the clients I started working with became one of the biggest domino effects to like a lot of the other cooler work
Wow.
that I got throughout my career even to this day. And I still work with that person. So Grant, my brother, he was doing a little bit of video work. He started reaching out to people. He was a better business guy than me. I struggle with the business side,
Okay.
right? I'm the creative guy. He was more of the business guy. And so he had already started getting clients. And I was out here trying, and I was struggling. I was trying to find things. He was already getting cool stuff like that. I was like, I wish I could just get that. And he had nothing to show for himself. He was just good at emailing
I
people.
sense a little bit of brotherly envy here.
There's a little bit of envy there, yeah. But it was more like it was envy mixed with like I think it was like a healthy envy, because it was like, how are you doing that? Like, show me. I want to know what's going on, you
Got
know.
it.
And I love my brother. He's the best because he, took that. He saw that and he was like, let me show you. Let me show you what you need to be doing. And so he actually really early on was able to like motivate me, like, hey, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that on the business side of things. So he had cold emailed a music artist. He was a hip hop artist, a Christian hip hop artist, which was
Hmm.
already, especially at the time, a more niche genre that has since exploded. But at the time, this was an artist that was independent, and I think he was independent at the time, and he was from Tennessee. Grant found him on this blog site, and he was like, "Hey, he's from Tennessee. Let me just contact him, see if he wants video work.
Hmm.
Somebody make some stuff for him." So he did, and the artist, his name is Dylan, but his artist name is No Big Dill, DYL, and he contacted him. He said yes, sure. Grant said he'll shoot something for him for free, like a little marketing commercial for his song, and first one free kind of thing. And so he did. Shot for him, great. They loved it. They kind of went months and months and months without contact until Dill contacted Grant again. Grant at this time, this is again months later. Hey, can you come shoot another thing for me to promote? Grant at this point has kind of put down the video camera. He's kind of, that thing is expired. I'm still out here trying to do it, right? This is
Uh-huh.
what I want to do. He's already moved on to his kind of career life. He's looking at, have internship at Boeing and working for Boeing and all this stuff. And so he tells Dill, he says, sorry, I'm actually not really doing any of that anymore. I'm about to move to Seattle. I'm not really going to be around. And Grant, before he did this, he asked me, he goes, hey, he's asking me, do you mind if I give him your contact? And I was like, no, I wouldn't mind at all.
Yeah.
Please, I'll take anything. And so he does. I didn't really know the artist that well, but I was like, seems cool, so let's do it. And so Grant gives him, he goes, hey, I'm not going to be around. Sorry. Thank you for contacting me and thinking of me. But this is what he said too. This is the best part. He goes, something that I haven't told you yet, that I've been keeping from you, is my younger brother is actually way better than me. So I'm gonna pass you his. So he really hyped me up too. He was
That's
like, my
awesome.
younger brother, he's actually better than I am, and so here's his contact information. You should shoot with him. And long story short of it all, he said great. He texted me, and I started working with him from that point on. And I worked with that artist to this day. Like we've
Wow.
remained
Wow, wow, wow.
clients, but now we're friends.
Yeah,
Like we are good friends.
that's
And
fantastic.
um, that was a God thing, because I had nothing to do with that scenario. Like that was all just the pieces fitting
Yeah.
together. And since then, working with Dill, there has been so many word of mouth opportunities, people discovering my work through his platform, because
Yeah.
we grew together. Like he grew as an independent artist, and we had a lot of big hits, a lot of music. We had a music video get two music videos that are over 1 million views on YouTube now. And we just had a
Wow.
lot of good moments, and has stuck with each other. That gave me a lot of eyes on my stuff, right? People will just want to check out my work, and other videographers and people want to check it out. And that led to so many cool opportunities, like working with other artists that are in that world, or going on tours with the artists and having these experiences. Working with the comedian John Christ came from being connected with, and I had
Wow.
originally met him through
Open
that.
doors.
Yeah, even working with certain TV and film companies for marketing side of The Chosen, and the Wonder Project making House of David, I dabbled with some marketing opportunities with them on the side. That came from
Wow.
a thing from Dill because they saw our music videos and wanted us to make this cool edit that was similar to our music video for their stuff. It just all stemmed from that. Some of the coolest, awesomest things that are the biggest level
Yeah.
things I've gotten to do, and even some of the other things that are more lower level. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it stemmed from working with him
Mm-hmm.
in ways that just didn't even make sense, or it was just people on Instagram finding me. But I could tell it all traced back to
Yeah.
that moment,
Yeah.
right? And that's why I say it's a God thing that's directed me. There's been plenty of things that I've emailed people and try and
Mm-hmm.
get on my own. That's part of the business. But some of the coolest things have been because God made a path for me
That's great.
when I didn't have to lift a finger, you know?
I like to say, and I've said this before in my own story, is when God opens a door, walk through it. He's not going to push you through it.
We'll have
He'll
to,
open the door, but you've got to walk through
you
it,
have to
right?
walk. That's true,
And
Phillip.
it's
Yeah,
kind of scary at first.
it
Like,
is.
can I really do this? But you've proven
Yeah,
when God opens a door, there's a reason. And
yeah.
there's a lot of other doors that'll open behind that. So
That's so true.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank
Yep.
you. That's so true. You have to walk through it.
Yep.
That's taking the opportunity. You're given an opportunity, but you still have to take it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned at the beginning that I have worked with Garrett when I first started my podcast, and I'm going to tell a funny little story
Okay.
in that
Oh no.
just how I don't know this world that Garrett works in. So I say, Garrett, I've got an idea. I want to do a podcast, but if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. So can you help me get the equipment I need?
Right.
So Garrett was so good, and he did me a little shopping list on Amazon, and he sent me like this camera, and I called Garrett up and I said, Garrett, I appreciate you doing all this. This is fantastic. I'm just looking at this camera. Um, I'm thinking I probably don't want to start with a high end, probably because I'm not sure if I'm even going to do this long term.
Right.
Let's start with the low end. And he goes, Phillip, that is a low end camera. And I was like, oh my word.
Yeah.
Tells you how much I know about this business.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it's interesting because you've helped me out tremendously, set up my studio, get my equipment, and
Yeah.
advise me and everything. And you've done a fantastic
Been
job, and
fun.
I appreciate that. But it's very interesting that our paths have crossed because we walk in we're at different stages in our career. I mean,
are.
you're at the beginning. I'm sort of wrapping up. I have
Yeah.
wrapped up one career
Yeah.
and kind of just dangling in some other stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just interested in your perspective, and I can't answer
Yeah.
this, but you can.
Yeah.
What can young creatives like yourself
Mm-hmm.
learn from old entrepreneurs like me?
Yeah. Oh, wow, Philip. We can learn a lot. A lot. There's so
Just
much.
one thing.
Just
Name one
let me go
thing.
through the list.
I'm looking for something.
Yeah, I'll name one thing. I'd say something that we could learn is endurance. And I kind of want to mix that with patience. I think it can be so easy to be so zealous, right, at the beginning of something. And when you're younger, in your younger years, it can be so easy to just be gung ho, kind of as you should,
Mm-hmm.
to a certain degree, to be ambitious, right? You're ambitious, but sometimes that ambition can lead to a lot of just wanting things now,
Mm-hmm.
immediately. Why aren't they happening for me? It must not be working out, and unfortunately, probably some people just give up too soon. And they don't endure through the pain,
Yeah.
the growing pains.
Good point.
And I would want to hear from someone who's been through the growing
That's awesome.
pains. How do you endure and how do you get through the dark night of the soul where you're having moments where you're like, oh, this worked for a long time and now it doesn't seem like it's working anymore. Like, what was that weird 5 years I had where this thing was happening? What was this awkward year that I had where I thought I was going to lose it all?
Yeah.
But then I was fine. Like I know there's all that stuff ahead of me. I don't not that I'm trying to speak bad. I hope all the
Mm-hmm.
best, but I just know how life
It's
is.
life.
And that's life, and it's hard, and it's not all just handed to you,
Mm-hmm.
And so, God is good, and He's blessed me so much. But even I have experienced my little moments here and there in my early career, and so I just know that's life, and I just want to not try and avoid any of that. I just want to learn how do you endure it well and come out on the other side healthy.
Yeah.
I want to learn the lessons of getting through those seasons.
It's good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn the tables on you, and then from your perspective, what do you think that older entrepreneurs or just older people in general don't understand about young creatives today,
Yeah.
or misunderstand, I should say?
I think something that maybe an older generation of entrepreneurs could have the wrong idea about younger creatives and entrepreneurs is that we just want to change everything for the sake of it, or we think that you know, the old system's just broken, or your ideas don't matter, or you're just old hat, and that you don't really know what you're talking about. This is 2026, right? Now, I'm not saying there's not some people who think that way, but I don't think that represents the majority. I think the majority do respect
Mm-hmm.
the footsteps that people have blazed the trail ahead of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they respect that. But the truth of the matter is, generationally, there is kind of a divide just across the board in terms of the eras of time that we're living in, socioeconomically, and like even just creatively and culturally, and almost in every facet. Just
Mm-hmm.
so many things are different
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of things are just a lot of methods, to the process are going to be very different than maybe how an older generation person handled something or did something. So it can be hard sometimes when you're trying to take counsel from somebody and they just say, well, you just need to do this. And you in your own head know why that doesn't work for you and your generation and your culture and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And you don't know how to tell them that that's not really going to
Yeah.
work very well.
Yeah.
Like that system is archaic. I'm sorry, isn't going to work because for them, that worked. You know what I mean? That was what worked. And they're just not really understanding that the tools are different now, and
Yeah.
the thinking is different now in a lot of areas. So
That's
it's
good.
a bit of a vague answer,
No,
but
I get it. I
that
get it.
principle is
I
like
think that resonates. Yeah.
trying to get through to people in a way that's, I'm not trying to put you down,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to help you understand that
I love
we're in
it.
different worlds
Yeah.
now.
Good. All right. Final question. The name of my podcast is The Calling and the Climb, and I named it because of my experience in being in business. What does that phrase, the calling and the climb, mean to you?
Yeah. I love that name, by the way.
Thank you.
When he first told me that was the name,
Yeah.
I was like, this is really cool. That name to me represents a journey. That to me, that's the first word that encapsulates all that whole title is the calling and the climb is the journey that you're on with God in your life. And you have this, I definitely feel that resonates with me and what I do. Um, I definitely feel like what I do is a calling in some way. And yes, doing video, but I feel it more generally in the sense of being creative. And there's a lot of other ways I like to express my creativity, whether it's writing or video or photography or other pieces of art or music and stuff like that. I just like expressing creatively, right? I feel like that's part of my calling is I'm here to communicate creatively to people. That definitely feels like a calling for me. But then the climb represents all the steps it takes to figure that calling out. You
That's
might be
good.
able to know what the calling is and have a name for it, but you still have to discover what that even means and what that even looks like and how it plays out
Some
in your
effort
life.
behind it, right?
There's effort.
Yeah.
You don't just one day wake up and go, I have a calling, and then it's all, downloaded into your system and you just know how to do
Good
it.
way to put it. Yeah.
You have to now go, okay,
Get
so
it.
what now?
Go take it. I love
And then
it.
that what now transfers into, well, I'll try this first. And that's step one of the climb,
Yeah.
So you're traversing up this hike, up this mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole way you don't know what's at the top. You don't know what the next corner has in store. But I'm just going to keep climbing.
That's
I'm going to
good.
keep climbing
Yeah.
because I have a calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Garet, you have certainly got a calling on your life. I've seen that for a long time. And I know that you have climbed amazing heights already, and you're still climbing. And
Hope so.
the sky's the limit. So, congratulations on all your success. And thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you, Phillip.
Thank you.
Glad to be on this side of the podcast.
Yeah.